Hello, hello. Welcome in. Happy Sunday, everybody. Week 7 of the NFL season is upon us. If you're in the chat, let me know how you're doing. Coming off the worst Saturday of the year for me by far in the college streak. Just absolutely nothing could go our way. Quick recap while everyone gets in here. Ryan, what's up? Dewan, Melissa, Leroy. Nothing could go our way yesterday. Air Force winning, give up a touchdown with 1 minute left to blow the cover. Duke, everyone was on Duke, but just like fumble at the goal line. Then they're at the goal line again, had to kick a field goal. Just disaster. Tulane wins by a touchdown. We had a -9.5. Washington tie game at half. Can't stop turning the ball over in the second half. Just literally nothing could go our way. Central Michigan and Boise State, the only ones that came through for us yesterday. Also lost a parlay on App State. App State was up like 20, I think, or something. They were up like 15. I looked, and they were the only leg we needed for this parlay. And, of course, they ended up losing to Coastal Carolina, who is literally horrible. Bad Saturday. So we got to bounce back today. Fly Eagles fly. Kevin, Mitchell, what's up? Got to bounce back today. So we're going to talk DFS and then obviously answer your questions. If you guys have any season-long questions, anything like that, go ahead and start funneling those into the chat. App State usually wins that game. Yeah, I don't even know what that was, Taz. It was just terrible. But that's just how my Saturday went, man. Just couldn't get anything right yesterday for whatever reason. Dewan had 2 picks in my flag football game yesterday and a pick 6. Wow. That is insane. Dewan, we need to is there like a live stream of your games? I would like to get some action going on some of those flag football games. I want to see Dewan in the Olympics. Aren't they doing flag football in the Olympics? How do we get you on that squad? CJ, what's up? All right, so if you guys have questions, go ahead and ask. I'm going to start talking DFS. And then we'll talk some – it's on YouTube, not live, though. Okay. You might send me that, Dewan. I'll check it out. We'll talk some picks at the end. I do like a square money line parlay. You guys can ask me how this – someone tell me how this loses. All the odds that you're seeing on the screen are brought to you by Unabated. Shout out to our sponsors – Unabated. They do have a premium product. I can get you guys 30% off if you want to play around with that. But someone tell me how if we just money line Kansas City, Denver at home against the Giants, and then Detroit tomorrow night. It's -109 on DraftKings. Kansas City, Denver, Detroit, money line parlay, 3 teams, nice and easy. Think I have to put that in. I have some touchdowns I like today as well. Ryan, you said season-long questions. Marv, Devonta, or Golden, full PPR. Second one is Kenneth Walker or Emmanuel Wilson. If Josh Jacobs does not play, I would say Emmanuel Wilson, just because I do expect him to be the lead back. I don't know if we will know about Josh Jacobs until closer to that game time, but Kenneth Walker plays tomorrow night, so you should be good there. Just wait and see. If Jacobs is out, I'd roll Wilson. If Jacobs is in, then just play Kenneth Walker. As far as your other question, Marv, Devonta Golden, full PPR. It might be Devonta Smith for me, to be honest with you. Looks like I just see these reports. Abuka and Evans both going to play tomorrow. That's going to be a fun game tomorrow night. I'm excited for that. I do think Detroit wins, but we'll talk about that more tomorrow. I don't know about Denver. I don't trust the Giants at all. They got lucky. They beat the Eagles at home. The Eagles' entire defense was hurt. On the road in Denver, much different spot. I think Denver is going to beat them by 10 or more, but I could be wrong. Is Pittman going to be chalky? On FanDuel, he might. On DraftKings, I don't think so. I'm seeing him right now around, for the stuff I play, around like 12%, 13%. All right, I'm gonna go position by position. I think Matt and Sam both are hungover, so I doubt they will be making appearances on the stream. So you guys can make fun of them the next time they come on. Okay. Positional stuff. Swift, Dowdle, Dobbins. Well, let me answer this first. Leroy said Swift, Dowdle, Dobbins, Vidal, Kamara. Season long pick 3. I would go Swift. I would go Kamani Vidal. And then I would go. Oh, man. Dobbins and Dowdle is tough. Leroy. I might go Dobbins. I do think Denver's going to be winning, playing from ahead. And you have a little bit of uncertainty with Chuba coming back. I definitely want Swift and Vidal, though, and then you could pick your other favorites. Not today, Ryan. Ertz is a must. I like Ertz a lot, DeJuan. From a positional standpoint, we'll start at quarterback. I think cash games. Disclaimer also, this is a really, really hard cash game week, in my opinion, especially on DraftKings. So I am not playing as many like head-to-heads and stuff today as I normally would. I think it's a really tough slate, especially from a cash game perspective. So not a super high volume cash week for me. But we'll still talk about it. So at quarterback on DraftKings, I think most people will be picking between Jaden Daniels and Patrick Mahomes in their cash games. I would lean towards Daniels just because the total on the game is 54.5 points. Still get a little rushing upside there. I'm leaning Daniels, but Daniels and Mahomes are the top 2 quarterback plays. After those two, and I like those two for tournaments as well. Ben, they're hung up on my phone. Shout out Jose. That's a good start to the day right there, Tawan. Ladder plays. There's one I haven't taken it, Ryan, but there's one I'll talk about when we get to receiver. So I'm still fine with Daniels and Mahomes in tournaments. Mahomes looks like a really good play to me. I think this is just a big narrative spot. They're at home against Raiders. Mahomes always gets up to play the Raiders and Crosby. It feels like on top of that, you also have obviously Rashee Rice coming back, who's going to be super popular. But this is the first time that Hollywood Brown, Rashee Rice, and Xavier Worthy are going to be on the field together. I think the Chiefs know that. Mahomes has kind of been back to the Mahomes of old in terms of his production throwing the ball this year. So I still like Mahomes a lot in tournaments in addition to Daniels. After those two, you have Dak in that same game is fine. I think there's outcomes where, Dak has a really big game, through the air, just because that's how you can attack Washington is with those big plays through the air in the secondary. So still think Dak is fine. After those 3, you kind of get into people, concerned about the weather. So Cleveland and Miami, there's like weather concerns. Tennessee has some weather concerns. There's another game too. Let me pull up the weather report here. Carolina, New York, a little bit. Chicago, New Orleans has some weather. So it kind of like, I think you need to double stack Mahomes. Yeah. You can use Worthy and Rice together. If you're going to do Mahomes and Rice, just be mindful, of the rest of your team. Like, get a couple lower owned pieces in there, but it's still fine. I'm playing 100. Like, I'll just be upfront. I'm playing 100% Rashee Rice today. I'm playing 100% CeeDee Lamb today. So those 2 players are in every single lineup that I've made. I think I'm playing like 6 or 7 on DraftKings. My normal 2 or 3 on FanDuel. So DraftKings, I have my cash team, my main tournament team, and then I think I made like 4 or 5 other teams after that. But I have 100% Rice and 100% CeeDee Lamb. Don't care. Just putting them in, living and dying with those guys today. But quarterback gets a little dicey after Daniels, Mahomes, Dak. I'm choosing to just not worry about the weather. I think that, it's kind of like, it's kind of an unknown. It sounds like, I don't think it's going to rain much in Cleveland. I think it's just windy. Same thing with Tennessee. The New Orleans and Chicago game does have some potential for rain. I've seen reports that say the rain will be gone after like the first part of the game. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a weather man. It's tough to really gauge it. Like, I don't know. The total in the game, 34.5 in Cleveland. It's 44.5 in the Bears. Now that's come down a little bit, but that's still right on par with like the Chiefs and Raiders game, Philly, Minnesota. So like the overall total on that Bears game is still fine for this slate. So I'm just choosing not to worry much about it. So after the big three quarterbacks on this slate, I do like Caleb Williams stuff a good bit. Pretty easy to stack him if you want to do Rome, if you want to get weird and maybe take a chance on Burden, or if you think Zacchaeus is going to keep that role. Like, you have pass catching options. I like Swift a lot as a running back. You can play Swift with Caleb in a stack. Especially we saw that long receiving touchdown for Swift last week. He does have that in the bag. So I think Caleb looks pretty interesting to me from a tournament perspective. I think Drake May looks pretty interesting. Drake May has seemed to do it every single week. You get a little bit of a rushing potential there. Tennessee, they've been terrible. Do they rally after the coach being fired and play a better game today? Potentially. But Drake May has been one of the best fantasy quarterbacks. Not going to be owned today. So I think Drake May and Caleb look good for tournaments after the big ones in terms of Daniels, Mahomes, Prescott. If you want to get really weird, you could go back to like the Jordan Love stuff. You could go to either Herbert or Daniel Jones in that game. That's another good game environment, but that's really it for me, honestly. Like, I'm playing a lot of like Mahomes in the Washington Dallas game, and then I like Drake May and I like Caleb Williams. That's kind of the spots for me today. I know Matt likes Caleb as well. Scaring me with this Bears talk. Yeah, I that's just how the slate goes. This is a weird slate. 10 games. I don't know. I think Caleb and Drake May are two of my favorite tournament stacks. Ryan, I think both Caleb and Drake May would fit into the favorite low-owned stack. As far as a run back goes, if you want to use Olave, you can. I don't think you need to force a run back there, but it would probably just be Olave. If I was going to pick someone, even if the weather's bad, he can get there, on volume. Still feel like he's due for some positive touchdown regression, even though he has been due for that for, basically his entire career. But probably just Olave. I like double stack Mitchell. I'm probably going to use Stephon Diggs and Hunter Henry on my Drake May team. Just go all in. That's a little bit of a narrative spot too with Vrabel going back to Tennessee. There's potential for Tennessee to just completely bottom out. So maybe there's a situation where the Patriots put up 30-plus points and, maybe Drake May has a rushing touchdown, a couple throwing touchdowns. He could really smash. Warren McBride combo. I don't hate that, Garrett, for tournaments. I do think so. The reason I said at the top it's a tough cash game week, I do think there will be some people playing double tight end in cash. I just can't bring myself to do that. I don't know why. It's a fault of my own, I guess, but I just can't. I can't play two tight ends in cash. I just can't do it. So I don't hate the Warren McBride combo for tournaments. I do think some people will play two cheap tight ends. Either two cheap tight ends or they would use like Warren or McBride with Ertz in cash games, but I'm just not doing it. Yeah, I don't know. It might burn me, but I don't want to play two tight ends. This is still supposed to be fun, and I just don't think that is fun. Taz, yeah, JJ home off the bye against the Eagles on secondary. We will get to that. I actually like a couple pieces in that game a lot. So to recap quickly, quarterback, I think Jaden Daniels or Mahomes are your cash game options. You have Dak right there alongside those guys for tournaments. And then I like Caleb Williams and I like Drake May a good bit. That's really the pool for me. If you want to rotate in some of that Chargers Colts game or Jordan Love, if you want to get super gross and like really hate yourself, I do think you could use Justin Fields today. I know that's as gross as it could possibly get, but it's kind of a weird slate. He does have rushing ability, even though he hasn't done that recently. So if you want to get super, super weird, I don't have any of him on DraftKings, but he is like in play, I think, if you want to get weird. As far as running back, pretty chalky week at running back this week. I think the cash game pool on DraftKings is Breece Hall, Quinshon Judkins, Jonathan Taylor, Bill Krosky-Merritt, Javonte Williams, maybe Kamani Vidal. Like, he's a maybe. The other guys, that's really like a 5 or 6 running back pool again this week. Judkins has the highest rushing prop on the board today. He's home against Miami. If you want to fade him in tournaments, you can. I would play Quinshon Judkins in cash games. I would play Breece Hall in cash games. You know, he has upside as both a runner and a pass catcher, especially with no Garrett Wilson. So I like Breece and Judkins a lot as like a cash game pairing. If you want to play 3 running backs, you can get up to JT in the flex, or, you know, you could side with one of those guys in the Washington-Dallas game, no problem. But that's like the cash game pool for me at running back. Still fine with those guys in tournaments, but like I said earlier, just be mindful of how you're playing them. Pivots, I like at running back in tournaments. I like DeAndre Swift a lot today, fitting with, you know, potential for bad weather, potential for the Bears to beat up on the Saints a little bit. You know, we haven't seen the Saints on the road a lot this season. The one game against Seattle, they weren't very good. They hung with the Bills a little bit, but, you know, still concerns about Rattler on the road. Could correlate Swift with the Bears defense a little bit. I don't hate that. Ramondre Stevenson didn't end up playing any of him on the main slate, but I do think he's viable. You know, like if you're going to play a Drake May team, maybe just put Ramondre on a team separately, and then you're kind of covered. There are outcomes where Ramondre scores 2 touchdowns today, you know, in the Patriots win the game. So Swift, Ramondre, Saquon Barkley. I love this spot for Barkley. If you go and look, the Minnesota Vikings, great. They're a great defense. They're a really good defense at home. They have really, really struggled to defend the run this year. Landon Dickerson is going to be playing for the Eagles today, I'm pretty sure. I mean, just look at some of these games the Vikings have given up on the ground. We haven't had that classic Barkley week yet. I do think that this could be it. So if we go back, you know, against the Falcons, they gave up 22 for 143 to Bijan Robinson and then 16 for 76 and a touchdown to Algier in the same game. So they got beat up a ton on the ground by Atlanta. Pittsburgh, Kenny Gainwell went 19 for 102 against them on the ground, which is just insane. Quinshon Judkins, you know, the Browns were big dogs in that game. He went 23 for 110 against them. This is like a really, really nut spot for Saquon, I think. So I want to be overweight on Barkley today. So Swift, Ramondre, Barkley look really, really strong for tournaments for me. You know, if you want to do a Denver D and like a Dobbins, I think you could do that. But yeah, cash game pool and then Barkley, Swift, Ramondre, those look really good to me. I think Gadsden's still fine, Guru. He's basically taken over as their lead tight end, so I still think he will be on the field even with QJ out. I mean, you do have concerns, like he's not much of a blocker. He plays a big receiving role, so yeah, maybe his involvement goes down a little bit, but I mean, they've kind of just been running him heavily, so I still think he's fine for tournaments. Garrett, I would go Pierce if choosing one of those guys. Don't really trust Adonai at this point, personally. Philly's going to cook. Dickerson is in and Carter. Okay, yeah, Dickerson officially in. I do see that. It's such a good spot for Barkley. I just want to take a stand on him. I'm going to play a good amount of Saquon Barkley today. Really, really good spot for him. We can switch over to receiver. If you guys have any other questions, go ahead and ask. At receiver, cash game pool is a little bit more open, I would say. I think you're playing Rashee Rice and you're playing CeeDee Lamb in cash games. After that is where there's a lot of different options. I would say Chris Moore, any of the Washington guys, but mainly Chris Moore on DraftKings just because he's mid-price. So Chris Moore, Quentin Johnston, Chris Olave, Michael Pittman. I think that all those guys are viable. Choosing the right one is probably, going to separate you a good bit. I'm inclined to just take the savings. So if you're going to play double tight end, you do not need to play Chris Moore in DraftKings cash games. So just keep that in mind when you're building your team. If you want to play Chris Moore, you don't need to do double tight end. I do think there will be teams, like I said, that skip Chris Moore and then they just play two cheap tight ends, or one of the mid-price McBride or Warren with another tight end in the flex. And then that gives them a little bit more room to get up to like Olave. I think the 2v2s stuff that you'd be working with, or 3v3, probably something like Olave, Warren, Ertz versus, Chris Moore, or I guess Ertz is probably in regardless. So it's really like Olave and mid tight end, or JT and like Chris Moore is probably what you're debating, or what some people are debating. I don't know how the salary exactly works out, but that's like some of the stuff that I've been thinking through. So I think the cash game pool, Rice, Lamb are auto plays, and then you have like Chris Moore, Quentin Johnston, Michael Pittman, Chris Olave. Those guys you're debating after that. For tournaments, I like Jalen Lane for GPP off of Chris Moore, Zach Ertz. I don't think Luke McCaffrey will get any ownership. I think most people will be playing more on Ertz. I like Jalen Lane. I think there's a chance Jalen Lane is the Commanders' best receiver today. Like, obviously, no McLaurin, no Debo. So, in terms of guys that are on the field today, I think Jalen Lane has potential to be the best receiver. He's priced at $3,800, so still cheap. I think he's going to be lower owned than Chris Moore. I think he's going to be lower owned than Zach Ertz. So, I like Jalen Lane in GPP. I like Cortland Sutton in tournaments. Good spot for him. So New York Giants, one of the only teams that actually play a fair amount of man coverage. He can beat man coverage. He can body up man coverage. Also a little bit of a narrative spot. I think they're celebrating Demaryius Thomas in some aspect today in Denver. Cortland Sutton obviously was close with Demaryius Thomas. He talked about that a little bit to the media this week. So just a small narrative spot, but it's a good matchup nonetheless for him against the Giants. I like his anytime touchdown today. So he looks pretty good. Other than that, it's probably just like stacking stuff. To correlate with Barkley, I know someone said something about Jefferson earlier. Completely fine with Justin Jefferson on any slate. I love Jordan Addison today. Jordan Addison and Saquon Barkley are my two favorite tournament plays today. Wide receiver twos have been eating against Philly. Quinyon Mitchell is active. So, again, I don't really think anybody can one-on-one shut down Justin Jefferson, but he does have to deal with Quinyon Mitchell, who's like the Eagles' only good corner right now at this point, other than Cooper DeJean. Jordan Addison is just a player. I mean, anytime Jordan Addison's been on the field, he's good. Indoors, good matchup, correlates with Barkley. I love Jordan Addison today. He's not going to be owned. So Saquon Barkley, Jordan Addison, my favorite tournament plays on this slate. I'm taking a stand with those guys. Other than that, though, it's probably just stacking. So Mahomes, like double with Rice and Worthy's fine. You know the pieces in the Dallas-Washington game if you're playing that. If you're playing Drake May, like Stephon Diggs or Hunter Henry. If you're playing Caleb Williams, I like Odunze. Kind of like a weird spot for Odunze, though, honestly, because New Orleans plays pretty heavy zone coverage. His numbers that are really good come against man. So maybe you could skip Odunze in a Caleb stack, go down to one of the cheap guys, either Burden or Zacchaeus. And then, like I said, play Swift. So I kind of want to play a Caleb double, but get a little bit weird with it. Use Swift and then one of the cheap receivers. Gives you some extra money to get up to like a Lamb in that lineup still anyways. So that's how I'm thinking about the Chicago stuff. If you're going to play Jordan Love, I'd double stack him with probably Kraft and Dobbs, Golden, one of those two guys. Getting Kraft with Love would be good because he's one of the low-owned tight ends today, and obviously you like playing low-owned tight end in your stack. So that would be optimal if you're playing Jordan Love stuff. And then didn't end up playing any of him, but I think Jalen Waddle is still a good play today. I like his anytime touchdown. Browns have really, really struggled against teams that can get the ball out fast. That's basically how Pittsburgh beat the Browns so bad last week. They were just getting the ball out instantly. The Dolphins are very capable of getting the ball out quick. They're very capable of relying on yards after the catch. Browns play decent man coverage. Jalen Waddle, I have no questions about him being able to get open. And I think he kind of would fits well with the weather too. Like if it's bad weather, that's just more reason for them to get the ball out quick around the line of scrimmage. I think that plays into Jalen Waddle's game. You could correlate him with Judkins, and he's not going to be owned. So I didn't end up playing any of him, but do like Jalen Waddle. I do like his anytime touchdown as well. Cash 3v3, Daniels, Pittman, Bill versus Caleb, Moore, JT. I would not play Caleb in cash. I think you're playing Daniels or Mahomes in cash, so I would just go the first one. I don't think you have to play Chris Moore, but so if I'm looking at the slate, like I said, I think there will be people that do not play Chris Moore in cash today, and they're going to play two tight ends. Like, what incentive do I have to not play just a min-priced receiver? Everyone is out for Washington. We know he's going to run a ton of routes. He was running routes even before all these guys got hurt. He scored a touchdown last week. He's 3,000. Like, if Chris Moore got you 5 points, that's not even going to kill you being 3K. So for me personally, it kind of feels like old school DFS slate where we get these like cheap receiver to put in and get in all the running backs. I don't see a reason not to play Chris Moore today, but at the same time, I don't think he is a stone lock or anything just because there are other cheap options with the two tight end stuff if you want to do that. Or, even if you didn't play two tight ends, like just playing Ertz, I feel like you could make probably a fine team. But I don't know. I don't see a reason not to play the 3K receiver personally. Kevin, you said FanDuel cash Breece Hall, Rashee Rice, CeeDee Lamb, or Javonte Williams, Justin Jefferson, Olave. I would take that first one, Kevin. I would take that first one. All right. Probably be a quicker stream today. We're going to talk bets a little bit. I'm going to do tight ends. And if you guys have questions, as always, drop those in. I'm going to obviously stay on while we finish this up and then check the inactives whenever those come out. As far as tight end goes in cash, I think people will be playing Zach Ertz, or it's actually a weird week. And this adds to why I think it's such a hard week. There's a good amount of good tight end plays. I would say Zach Ertz, Tyler Warren, Trey McBride, Michael Mayer, Harold Fannin are all cash game viable for me. So I have like a pool of 5 tight ends. Typically, that's not the case. I might have like 1 or 2 that I'm interested in playing. I think Ertz is probably the top option for sure. And then I would rank them for the cheap guys. I'd rank them Ertz, Mayer, Fannin. And then I would probably take McBride over Warren, but I think Warren will be higher owned because he's 500 cheaper is how I would answer that. But I really like Michael Mayer today. We talked about it a little bit last week. I felt dumb for not playing him in cash. Like, this is a legitimately good tight end. He won, best tight end in college when he was at Notre Dame. He got drafted very high. And, no Brock Bowers. I think there's a good chance Jacoby Myers does not play also. So I kind of want to see that news when that comes out here. But I like Michael Mayer a lot today. Correlates with the Mahomes stuff, correlates with Rashee Rice. So I like Mayer. I like Ertz. I like Fannin. I'm having a tough time clicking Fannin over Ertz or Michael Mayer personally. I don't know if anyone in the chat agrees or disagrees with that, but I think Michael Mayer, good play today. Defense quickly, I think in cash, you're looking at like Carolina, probably like Carolina, Cleveland, For cash, Denver, I think, is a great tournament play. I already talked. I think the Broncos are going to flatten the Giants today. So I like Denver defense in tournaments. I like Patriots defense in tournaments. I like Miami defense just fine. There's a chance the Browns just suck, and also same bad weather that the Dolphins offense is playing in. So Dolphins defense is fine. Even like Titans is fine down as a punt, and then Bears with Swift is a good correlation play that I like as well. So about does it for the DFS slate. I will obviously answer any questions that you have. As far as bets go, moneyline parlay, Chiefs Broncos Lions. I put that in at -109. On DraftKings, I love Jordan Addison, who we talked about. I think Ryan earlier asked about the ladder. I could see myself laddering Jordan Addison today. I didn't put it in, but I like Addison props. I like Addison touchdown. I like Cortland Sutton props. I like Cortland Sutton touchdown. Those are probably my two favorite touchdowns. I did put in like a receiver touchdown parlay too. It was Waddle, Rice, Addison, Sutton, and that paid pretty good. Upset of the day for me probably would be I could see I actually don't know. I don't really like any of these dogs. It's not really an upset, Guru, but I mean, the Jets or the Panthers could win this game. So the Jets are slight favorites again. Whoever could win this game. The Dolphins are underdogs, could certainly beat the Browns. The Colts are good enough. I love the Chargers today. It's my favorite bet. Chargers money line is my favorite bet today, but could see the Colts winning. Colts are a respectable team. Touchdown survivor pick. Yeah, still alive in the TD survivor. So I'm going to pull this up. I think we're down to 149 people in my pool, which is crazy. Started at 1,700. We're down to 149. Here's my thoughts on touchdown survivor today. I think what I'm going to do is I really, really like this game tomorrow night, the Lions and Bucks. Lions always put up a bunch of points at home. So both Gibbs and St. Brown both did not score last week. So I think I'm going to pick one of Jahmyr Gibbs or Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm going to save that. Like I put Gibbs in for now. I'm going to wait till tomorrow, make that decision, and let everyone put their stuff in today. Hopefully, some big chalky picks get knocked out today. And we're sitting there with tomorrow night, high total, Detroit at home in the Dome. I think that's how I'm gonna play it. So my lean is Gibbs right now. If you really wanted to pick someone today, I would probably pick either Rashee Rice or probably Rashee Rice if I had to pick someone today. I feel like he's gonna get in first game back, but I'm skipping today entirely. It's a bunch of weird games, a bunch of weather. I'm just gonna sit back with my Jahmyr Gibbs tomorrow night and watch everyone pick today. Hopefully we get some. I would love to get this pool under 100 going to tomorrow, and then if we can get whichever player I pick tomorrow through, that would be ideal. Jacoby Myers is inactive today officially, so again, that's another bump for Michael Mayer. I think Michael Mayer is my favorite tight end on the slate. Survivor top 2 or 3. If I was alive in Survivor, oh man, I would assume I'm sure people are using Denver if they haven't. I would use Detroit, I think. If you want to use Detroit, would be fine. Denver's fine. I don't know if people are going to get cheeky and try and use the Browns. I don't know. That'd be a little risky for me. That would be a little risky for me. All right. So yeah, to recap, went through the DFS slate. You guys can go rewatch that if you need. Bets, really like Chargers money line today. I really like the that money line parlay, super square, but Chiefs, Broncos, Lions, like all three of those teams. Love Addison's stuff today and touchdown. Love Cortland Sutton stuff today and a touchdown. I would take Mayer over Taylor Jelly, but like both of those. Season-long question, Sean Flex, Bourne, Io Manor, Luke McCaffrey, or JMO. I would go JMO, Sean. I'm going to tell you guys this right now. Tomorrow on the stream, I'm going to be talking a lot about Jameson Williams. Super good spot for him tomorrow night. Leaky secondary at home. I preach this all the time. You know, JMO, big games come at home in the Dome. Really, really strong spot for him. I love him tomorrow night. So I'm riding JMO on all my season-long teams that I have him on. I think he's going to definitely potential for some pop in tomorrow night. Yeah, Mayer for me, Jelly over Mason Taylor. Thinking Ertz, Mayer, Jettas, and Cash. You could do that. I'd probably rather play JT than Jefferson and Cash personally, but you can do that. He's crushed me. I'll say that. Me too, Sean. I have him on all my teams. I will keep the faith, though. If he has a big game tomorrow, the Lions have some tasty games coming up. I think we could see a nice stretch from Jameson Williams here. Big game tomorrow, and then they got some really nice games. They play Dallas at home one of these weeks, which is just a nut spot. Like there's some good spots for him coming up. So keep the faith. Hopefully he can come through for us tomorrow night. Good luck today with all your bets, all your DFS teams, all that good stuff. I will be live tomorrow at 4 p.m. We will talk Monday Night Football and recap today. Hopefully we make some money today. Honestly, feel pretty good about my DFS teams other than Cash. Cash is just tough today, but we'll see what happens. Good luck today, and I will see everyone tomorrow.